it. We're off. We're off and running. That's
This is when I used to go shopping in
yeah.
at the start of the lockdown last year. Scared the fuck out of me.
I bet. What time have we got? Is it 7 yet? It's nearly there. It's nearly there. Right, let me just share this. I'm going to share it on Twitters. And then... Boom. Done. Okay. Right. This is live. We are live. Yes, we're live. Awesomes. So, everybody, welcome to the live stream. And before I introduce you to my guest, you have to have a listen to what he was up to at the weekend. Have a check this out. It's only a few seconds. Yeah, of course it didn't work. Yep. So, can you hear that, Mick? Did
I
you
can hear you. I can't hear.
You didn't hear the music? Okay. I don't know why it didn't. Let me just try this again. Because, sorry, somebody just rang me. My brother's just rang me. I've been ringing him all day. He doesn't answer me. And now, as I'm doing a bloody thing, I'm going to call volume there. Ring and notification volume. Turn him off. So, let me try this again. You see the fucking technology problems I've been having? This software is a nightmare.
Yeah.
There.
Look at that. Look at that.
Beautiful. Beautiful
Look at
indeed. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah.
No need to be anonymous anymore.
No, there we go. Real life String Ninja Mick Conlon. Welcome to the world's dodgiest live stream. I hope you're well.
Aye, mate. I'm all gravy and a bag of chips.
Good. Well, listen here. There's something I wanted to ask you, and it was something that bugged me that I didn't ask you after the last time we were talking, and it should have really have been sort of the first thing I asked you. Really, how does a North Belfast lad end up playing classical violin instead of trad fiddle?
A teacher at school, really.
Yes.
When I was in P4, I think it was, a new teacher came to our school who was a past pupil, had been away. He had studied music at Queen's and all, so his first class as a teacher was my primary 4 class. And Ardoyne at the time was not a nice place, so he saw an opportunity to give a couple of young lads an opportunity to get ahead in life.
Really?
And got a hold of some violins, he played violin too, gave us lessons. We started sitting our exams, and then the rest was history. Ended up just going down that classical route because I don't know how, I've told the story of my old teacher on my own podcast.
Aye.
And his son, who's also a very accomplished violinist in the Northern Irish music scene, has played that podcast to him. And
really?
He said, you make him sound like a fucking Italian gangster, which he loved, because he was, where the instruments came from, I don't know how our Holy Cross Boys in the 80s was not an affluent school.
No.
So I found myself all through secondary school, always, because classical is very much money.
Yeah.
And I was always in an orchestra there was all these people with money, and they were all, not all of them, some were very nice.
Yeah.
But there was quite a few sort of silver spooners.
Yeah.
And then so after orchestra, they're going back to the Upper Balloon Road, down there, and then I'm going back through a rat in Ardoyne to try and get home, getting searched by the cops because I think I have a gun in my case, So it was an interesting childhood, but that's how. So that the trad thing never happened for me because I just got balls deep on the classical. So
Brilliant. Well done. That's lovely. That's a good story.
Yeah.
And it shows you, it does illustrate the importance of these characters in our lives, and they're for the grace of God. You know,
Definitely.
my own thing is I was always mad about the guitar and all the rest of it, and I asked for guitar lessons, and my dad got me this old fucking nightmare of a thing out of what was Woolworths at the time. I think it was
Jesus.
7 or 8 years of age, barely playable. Brought me up to this woman called Fra McCann, who was a teacher in a local school, a local girls' school, and we went for lessons. And he says, if you stick at it, I'll get you a nicer guitar. So I stuck. Obviously, I did stick at it, and a year later, he got me something that was equally unplayable, but
Yeah.
it was black and it had roses on a pickyard. It was terrible. It was
I
again.
think
It
we all
won't.
had that guitar at some point.
That was the thing. But I would love to talk to Fra, and I know she moved because I still live in the area, North Lurgan here, and she moved years ago, and so I was walking past what was her house, and I said I'd love to go. And she said, "Oh, she's moved out to such a place." So if I ever got an opportunity to go and see her, I would tell her, and I would bring her my records and all my work I've done with the Bonnevilles and stuff, and say, "Listen, I know it's not your cup of tea, but you know what she did, Mick, that was so brilliant." And when I teach, this is all I teach. I teach the same way she taught me, and all she taught was strumming chords and finger picking, and singing and singing. That was it. Big room full of people. I was the only boy. It was all girls. At the age I was too young to appreciate that fact. And we just strummed the pop hits of the day. So it was ABBA and whatever the fuck else was in the charts in the late 70s and right into the mid 80s. And I think I will credit. This is what I give her credit for: teaching me how to play the guitar and sing at the same time, which a lot of people don't try to do until they're older. I had it done when I was 8, right? Well, to a degree. And the second thing I think that she gave me that I come to realize as I turned into a songwriter was my appreciation for pop melody. And although the Bonnevilles is quite heavy-ish and whatever, it's very melodic and very poppy, if you know what I mean. And I like that. That really appeals to me. And I try to get that in. And then, as I got older, then the grunge thing happened, and I got into and grunge is just that. It's heavy music with melody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Your parents would be going, turn off that noise, but they can't hear beyond.
Exactly.
Like metal's the same. Like metal is all classical. If you listen to any metal solo, it's like listening to J.S. Bach. Do you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
You know, because those guys to have the classical guitar is definitely, it's a technique that can only be beneficial to a guitarist.
Without a doubt. Oh, there's no two ways about it. And it's one of the things that it's sort of, I think where it can go too far is if you lose melody to technique, you lose me as a listener. I appreciate technique, of course you do. You have to have technique.
Yeah.
But and we can all show off and we can do our little things and do. But once you lose the melody, when you go too far from the melody, or you stay away from the melody or the riff or the hook or whatever it is for too long, I get bored. Again, I appreciate the skill and all the rest of it, and all us musicians are terribly, terribly skilled. But
I think that's where I benefited from a 12-year break.
Oh, you did?
I stopped playing when I was 18.
Oh.
I started again when I was 30.
So
I had to stop. I have tendonitis in this. I have tendonitis in this wrist, this elbow, and my right foot. They're all violin related.
Wow.
So I went from a really staunch classical, like 6 hours a day of practice, playing in 3 orchestras and 2 string quartets, and it's all I did, to nothing. So then when I went back to playing, I didn't have the clinical accuracy, maybe, of all the techniques. Even though I still knew all the techniques, I maybe didn't have the delivery. But then you learn how to groove. Gavin, the other ninja, really taught me about groove.
Yeah.
And about how to make, and talk about the melody, especially what we do being instrumental too, to engage the listener.
Yeah.
You have to. I'm dying to see videos if anyone has videos of me up close and personal from Stenhall, because people laugh at me all the time because of my face.
Yeah.
But that's how I'm not saying words to you. I'm trying to communicate through my left hand,
Yeah.
my right hand, and my
Yeah.
face. I'm trying to communicate. So
Of course. Yeah.
as a non-musician is going to sound like a really wanky thing to say, but it's the truth. Fuck up. You know what I mean? It's our word. You just live in it.
It is. You're just here for your visitor. Fucking wipe your feet before you come in. No, you're absolutely right. And how you get to where you need to be as a musician, whatever it is you have to do to get there is what you have to do. I go to sort of. I like to tell myself, because what we do with the Bonnevilles especially is blues related and all, and so I lean into the culture of that, the history of that, I'm very aware of the weight of that canon, and that I'm sure you are too, but you're trying to engage that way, and every time you see old footage of Howlin' Wolf or Rosetta Tharpe or anybody, and you see it and you go, he's not fucking about here, he's serious, he means everything here, or this is real to them. Who the fuck am I to come along and just sort of half-ass it? Do you know does that make sense?
Right. No, it absolutely does. 100%, man. I mean, what's the point in doing anything in life if you're not going to do it properly? But especially when it comes to music. Yeah. And I feel as well, if you're invested in it that much, that the audience will connect with that too.
I think you're right. I think that's 100%. If you're in that, the audience get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, can I ask you a question just before, because I will forget this and I want to ask this before we move on. Yeah. How was Stendhal? How was the gig? What was it like? Talk to me about that.
Beautiful, mate. Well, before we got there, I was nearly in a car crash.
Nice. In a rush to get there, was it?
Yeah, I was on the outside lane of the M2, doing 70, and all of a sudden, the power just dropped out of my car. But it was 1:30 on a Friday, coming out of Belfast, so it's just chocker block. How someone didn't go through the back of me, I do not know. So I couldn't even get onto the hard shoulder. I was literally just on the outside lane, slowing down. I couldn't move across. So eventually, car came to a standstill, turned it off, turned it back on, and started driving again. So then when we get to Stendhal, I think I mentioned to you how nervous. I was like, it's the first gig back and it's a festival. Jesus Christ. But because of what happened in the car, I was like, literally nothing could faze me now. You know what I mean? So I literally strutted on stage. I was like, well, hello, everybody. How are you? It's like we've never left. So it was good, man. We did actually end up doing 2 sets. So we did a set in the Moody Woodland stage, which we had done before, which is a bit more sort of family kind of a vibe. Is
that down the back in the near the wee rivery thing? Aye.
Yes, very much. And it's class.
We've played there.
It's great, man. It's just, especially when we're doing the dance music and stuff, you just we're literally having a rave in the woods. It's class. But then we had to do a set about 4 hours later on not the big stage, the one that's sort of just down from it. It's called the Air Stage, which is still a big stage anyway.
Yeah.
So that was that's where that video was taken from. So it was beautiful. I mean, I've heard numerous reports that whoever was playing on the main stage at the same time as we were playing, most of their audience left them and came and watched us.
Oh yeah, you always want to hear that. You always want to hear that. You always want to hear that at a festival. You always, your stage was packed. The main stage was fucking empty.
I know. No,
I love that.
The festival organizers came and spoke to us afterwards, and were like, lads, we didn't catch your set, but by all reports, she's absolutely murdered. So it was brilliant. I mean, it was like 8:30 at night. The sun was setting. The chemicals were starting to take their effect on people's bodies. And it like we ended up playing like Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy, and everyone was just like, yeah, just giving us stacks.
God.
And like, that's in between all the rock madness and stuff we were doing, just because you need a break. You can't be playing heavy all the time.
Yeah.
But no, it was beautiful, man. And it was really well put together. People were very respectful of each other. If people, you know, there was no mosh pits or anything like that there. Like there were people, certainly having a wee dance and a boogie and all, but there was none of this people falling on top of each other. It was all, you know, it was the same area as it always is, but about 10% of the capacity it normally has.
Yeah.
So you know, everything felt safe. It's all good.
That's good.
And like Ross and John are just class anyway. Like they're really good people, and they put on, you know, it was beautiful. And then like I say, came back to Belfast on the Saturday and played a bar gig and. Good impact. It was funny. There was a load of English lads singing "Just Coming Home." Yeah, and the thing is, mate, I haven't been on a microphone in 15 months, so I had a lot of shit to get off my chest, and I went, "Here, who let the imperialist in?"
Yeah,
leveled the place. So, well, because we're not singing, we have to engage that way. So.
Well, of course. Well, fair play. We played. I can't wait. We're supposed to be playing Stendhal soon. I don't know. I know they're doing another thing. Chris.
12th and 13th of August, I think it is.
I think we're. As far as I know, we're in for that. I'm on a need to know basis only. We played a gig there the other week. Was it last week? It was a sort of a backyard thing.
Yeah.
And our roadie Pete, he's involved with an organisation. It's just a group of mates really, but they're all socialists and union people and shop stewards and all. But they're all sort of old Belfast punks. So they have a little gang called CAT. I should have worn the t-shirt. I was wearing it yesterday, so it's in the wash. CATR, Clash Against the Right. And it's the Clash, so they're all mad Clash fans.
Okay, right.
So I think, as far as I'm aware, they're either connected with Rock Against Racism, or this organisation is Europe wide, little clubs all over the place. So they were getting together, and they had a DJ playing all load of punk tunes, a load of beer, and they said, Pete, who's our roadie, would you ask the Bonnevilles would they come down and do an acoustic set? And Pete said, I'll ask them, but they'll say no because they don't do acoustic music because we're not an acoustic band. Because I personally am a believer. If you want an acoustic band, get an acoustic band, because acoustic bands are better because it's not the same. People don't get it.
Yeah,
there's different dynamics involved. It's not the fucking same.
It's like gluten-free bread. Yeah.
But you get what I'm talking about. You obviously play acoustic music, but you know. With electric music, with our amps and guitars, and you had a thing and it goes on forever, and you can fucking just. There's a lot of forgiveness there. With acoustic music, it's more precise. You got to be more accurate. It's a little less forgiving to the player, and that's fine. It's not that we can't do it. It's that we don't do it because we do the other thing. So I kind of am a wee bit sort of. Is it being a bit disrespectful? Because I would prefer to listen.
Like it,
You know what I'm saying? So they asked us to do it, and I said, "Fuck it, let's do it." So we went and rehearsed a load of times, and we got ourselves just a 5 or 6 song set. That's all we did, and we went and played, and it was fucking lovely to play. But you know what? And this is where the acoustic thing really kicks you in the nuts. People can talk over the top of you.
Yeah.
People can talk and not listen to you, and you know they're not listening to you because you can hear the fucking conversation. You don't get that with a fucking 4x12 fucking Marshall stack. Do you know what I mean?
I know. That's the thing. Like we've done we're playing in places like we do like cocktail hours. We can go from cocktail hours to music festival. That's the spectrum, just because of what we do. Yeah. And like we were playing like we cocktail hours, and someone will come up and say, "Could you turn down? You're a bit loud." And I'm like, I can hear everything you're talking about. Yeah. And you're 20 feet away, so I'm not too loud. Yeah. Exactly. Listen, the people were lovely. I will say this, and I won't be contradicted because everyone that was there will know what I'm talking about. The women, the men were great. They all listened and they were all attentive. The women just sat in the same sofa and just started to talk. That said, whenever we finished the songs, they were the biggest applauders. They were the loudest. Yeah. So I couldn't figure that one out because they weren't fucking listening to us. Yeah. It was funny. Like the music festival was no problem. Like, but we did the bar gig. It was like I addressed the situation. Like there was a few times where people weren't even clapping, and I was like, "It's all right, folks. It's been a while for us too. But if we just light some candles and tell each other we love each other, and make a loving atmosphere, we'll get through this together."
Remember we used to do this.
Losing your virginity again.
Yeah. Remember we used to do this thing. Remember gigs. Remember those. But I know. But the fucking we've some stuff booked in for the end of the year and begin the next year, and I'm still not convinced that we're going to go tours and stuff. I'm just absolutely not certain at all.
Yeah,
but
I tried to get tickets for your end of the month gig, but I'm glad to say I'm working.
Oh, brilliant!
A random gig just came up, so I was like, "Well, I can't go," because I was up and chatting with our mutual friend, Michael Barber.
Oh well, look at you!
He
You
loves
fancy?
You lot. He really loves you lot.
Does he?
He's like the best live band I've ever seen.
Oh,
they're pretty good.
He's very.
But he would know as well, being a photographer,
Yeah, well, we do give it lots of rock face and stuff like that. So it's easy to get a photographer to say they like that. All you have to do is give them what they want, and they're cheap bastards. So they're easy. They're just hers. So you give them all the big rock star poses and shit, and they love you. They're the best live band ever.
That's it.
I am fucking about.
I know him and his wife Julianne were the photographers at Gavin's wedding there. So that's where that photo was that I sent you.
Yes, I seen
we were
it.
at the same table for dinner.
Brilliant. Very good.
Good day.
Well, here, listen. We'll park that for now. The gigs. Hopefully, basically, what we're saying is we're going to get back to work again, isn't it? And not the fucking that thing. But so we both, although you are obviously a big St. Pauli fan, which for those of you that are listening to this or watching this, or don't know who St. Pauli is, St. Pauli is not the world's greatest football team, but probably one of the world's greatest clubs.
The greatest club.
The greatest. Well, obviously, I might have another opinion on that, but
all right.
But joint top club, and I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue too much about that because I'm a huge admirer of them because they're obviously very socially aware people, and they're very anti-racist, very anti-fascist, very pro. Human rights, let's call it that, to cover as a blanket all cover of everything because there's not many little they're not little, they're huge, they're massive things. So, but it brings us, the reason I bring it up is because I wanted to talk to you about, I take it you watch the Euros?
I did.
Yeah.
It's funny because when we last spoke, one thing we didn't get to talk about was this.
Yes.
And then you asked me last week, are you available Wednesday? And I said, yes, I am. And then coincidentally, what did unfold on Sunday night, Monday morning, makes this all very...
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Which for that's the universe looking after us good sorts.
Usually your podcasts go out of date by the time you finish recording them. So this is
for once. I'm not on the fucking ball. I'm forward of timing myself. But
that's it, man.
But obviously, so what we're going to talk about is we're not going to talk about the England losing. We're going to talk about the reaction to the England players losing, which is beyond vile. I will say this: so we watched the final in the Woodville, which is just around the corner from us, and it's a great. I live in North Lurgan, which is generally considered to be sort of a nationalisty Republican area. Part of it is Republican. I would say nationalist, but part of it has a little Republican pocket there. And the bar that we go to is called the Woodville. Great family pub, fantastic. You get food and drink and They don't have a jukebox. They don't have music. It's just basic, but it's good. You get great bar staff. They look after you. They know you by your first name, and it's fantastic. So we went round there to watch, and it's a brilliant thing because there was one English guy there. Now in North Lurgan, there's not too many of them here. In fact, he's it, and he was sitting in his England top, and he watched the match, and the whole pub obviously was cheering for Italy.
Yeah.
And every time Italy, it was. the whole
As
fucking
good
place.
Catholics should.
As absolutely, the whole place erupted whenever and fair play at him. He took it in the best of humour. Well, he was surrounded. He didn't have much of a choice. He couldn't have done. he couldn't have done too much else, really. But he did. There was somebody had an Italian flag and all, and he wrapped himself in it and walked around the bar, and it was fantastic to see. But it's lovely. But that's one response to obviously what you don't want happening. The other response is, and I'll just. Can you see? I sent you these videos, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, watched them all earlier.
Yeah, so this one is by. Let me just pull up Samuel K on Twitter, who. Yeah. And he works for an organisation. I can't remember just exactly who that is. It's like Evolve Politics or something like that. But so I'm just going to play this real. I'm going to play this real quick.
No bother.
Pritti Patel has been absolutely destroyed on Twitter by England footballer Tyrone Mings for being the biggest hypocrite on the face of this planet. You see, only a few weeks ago, at the beginning of the Euros, Patel was happy to defend England fans who booed the players for taking a knee. Listen closely to what she had to say here to GB News.
I just don't support, people participating in, that type of gesture politics.
So, I know you can't hear that, Mick, right? Sorry, again, that we're here and there's nothing going wrong. I'm not going to even fuck about with this. I'm just going to accept that. But I did send it to you, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
Pritti Patel is calling the beat. It's not BLM. It's taking the knee.
Yeah.
Gesture politics.
She is. Yeah.
Right. So we'll just roll this on.
To a certain extent as well.
First off, let's just refresh our memories. Why were these players taking the knee in the first place? These players weren't just taking the knee for the hell of it. Black players in this country, the likes of Sterling, Saka, Mings and others, have all been witness to high amounts of racist social media abuse, particularly if the team they're playing on loses. Raheem Sterling early this year opened up about how he would be sent monkey emojis by accounts on Twitter after his team would lose a big game. The England team and its manager thought that this was unacceptable and came together to take a knee to highlight that, yes, racism still exists. But now, back to Pritti, it seems that she wants to partake in gesture politics by now pretending that she's against racism. She tweeted on Monday, the 12th of July, "I am disgusted that England players who have given so much for our country this summer have been subject to vile racist abuse on social media. It has no place in our country, and I back the police to hold those responsible accountable." Well, Tyrone Mings responded with, "You don't get to stroke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labelling our anti-racism message as gesture politics, and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we're campaigning against happens." This tweet is perfect. There's literally nothing I can add. But can we also just remind ourselves that Pritti Patel sat down for an interview with Nick Ferrari on LBC, claiming the BLM protests last year were dreadful. Boris Johnson doesn't get away with this one either. He had nothing to say about the booing when his spokesperson was asked about it, saying he fully respects the right of those who choose to peacefully protest and make their feelings known. Just a thought here, but instead of saying that, he could have used the opportunity to explain to his base why the players were kneeling in the first place. He could have told people about the tons of racial abuse still suffered by players online and in the press for that matter. He could tell them that his government still isn't properly compensating victims of the Windrush scandal, a form of institutional racism that his government still denies exists. Quite frankly, I'll always welcome any form of racist condemnation. My point here, however, is that you've got to be consistent with it. If you enjoyed watching this, please subscribe to my Patreon. Thank you. Pritti Patel has been absolutely destroyed.
Nice wee video there.
Very good, isn't it?
He brings up the Tyrone Mings tweet, in which Tyrone Mings very concisely illustrates exactly what the problem is when it comes to the governmental response. And I'm sure it must have galled these players to see Pritti Patel and Boris Johnson walking around in fucking England tops and turning up at matches, but refusing to back the black players specifically. Although it wasn't just that. There was Harry Kane was wearing a rainbow armband, I believe. I think at one of his maybe all of the games. I can't remember. So, but Tyrone Mings points out perfectly the hypocrisy of the government in response to the players. What do you think?
Well, she's a woman so evil she'd deport her own parents. Um, oh mate, she like I was. Do you know what, man? See, when I was watching the final on Sunday night, and I was watching it with my dad, and I remember when Marcus Rashford stepped up to take the penalty,
Yeah.
and he missed.
Yeah.
I stood up and walked out of the room, and because I knew, I was like, I know if I go on Twitter right now, I know exactly what's going to be said. I was like, that guy has done more in 12 months than any politician has.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember the last time a politician did any good at all. And I was like, he is going to get vilified. And then Sancho stepped up. The same thing happened. Sancho just makes a big transfer to Man United, who, by the way, for the record, I think Jadon Sancho should have been playing from the very, very start, from the whole tournament. Because the reason Harry Kane was so shite is because Heung-Min's son is not English. People don't realise that he does all the legwork for Harry Kane. Sancho could be that player, but I think that's another one. And then when Saka got up, interesting story. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm all Italian all of a sudden. Saka, my brother used to teach him. My brother was his English teacher at GCSE level.
Obviously, so in England, obviously.
I've always had a sauce. Yeah, my brother teaches in Southall.
Wow, in that class.
In London. And Saka was one of his pupils for a time.
Yep.
And he speaks very highly of him. And so I've always had, when I knew about this kid coming up through the ranks at Arsenal, I was like, I have a wee sauce for him because we family connection there. And when he stepped up, I was like, I want England to lose, but please don't let this kid miss. Because you just know. And it doesn't surprise me because you've got politicians like Pritti Patel and Boris Johnson glorifying racism.
Yeah.
Is effectively what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear t-shirts like this. They're not just, it's not a fashion thing. It's because I believe what it says. It's not enough to say, oh, I'm not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Yeah.
You have to be anti-homophobic. You have to be anti-xenophobic. You have to be anti all these things. You can't just say, I'm just not those things, because you probably are anyway. Yeah. So whenever you've got, it's like, I sent you that clip earlier of Spitting Image, Pritti Patel.
Yeah. I have it. We're going to play it.
Did you watch it all?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's because of who she is. She's a woman and she's Asian. So the Tories are like, well, you can say all the stuff we can't say.
Exactly.
Because you effectively tick all those BBC boxes.
Exactly.
So
and she does, and so she gets away with murder because of that.
She does. She's a fucking cunt, man. She's a thunder cunt. I hate her.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Bad language on your. This is probably get your stream taken down.
Not at all. No, fuck. Everybody says I say cunt all the time. Don't worry about it.
But do you say thunder cunt? And
no, that's a new one. No, that's a new one. Now.
Boris is like he's a fuck nugget. He really is, that lad.
Terrible.
I mean, the whole thing with COVID, I could never take anything he said seriously. I was like, mate, you're telling me I have to wear a mask? You can't even brush your hair. Why am I taking fashion advice from you? You go shit. So, but mate, no, I'm not. I wasn't. Whenever they missed their penalties, I knew what was coming. I lived in England for 9 years. I ran a bar over there. I ran a sports bar. So see the way all those fans were getting on. I've experienced the racism. I've experienced it as an Irishman.
Oh, I have too. Oh, I have lots of it.
You know what I mean?
I've been beaten up in the street just for being Irish in England. I'm talking about in the late 80s, early 90s. But, you know, it has happened purely because I was Irish for no other reason. But I was listening to today, I'm a subscriber to a podcast called The Red Men. It's a Liverpool affiliated supporters podcast. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
And they were because Liverpool went into pre-season on Monday, so they were talking primarily about that, but inevitably they ended up talking the last 30 minutes, although they didn't intend to, about what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And we know that Liverpool are kind of known for not caring too much about the national side. So the fans
for English
exactly. So those guys were saying they're glad to see Jordan Henderson there because he is our captain we absolutely love him, and he's a good he comes across as being an absolute diamond, but we were glad to see him there. But our primary concern is that he doesn't get injured That's the thing for us as fans, right, of Liverpool. And obviously, I'm not.
He's your most important player, I would say, above Van Dijk.
I would say too. Absolutely, he's the backbone of the team for me. But anyway, but listening to these, proper Scousers, proper lifelong they were raised to be Liverpool fans, and they got excited when England when it looked like England's doing well here, and they were sort of careful to point out, listen, we're not bandwagon jumping. I'm not bandwagon jumping here, but when they looked like they were getting through to the semis, and then the last 16 and then the semis or whatever, and then they were doing really well. Oh, this is going to be nice. This is good. I'm happy about this. This is good. But then after the final, and I tell you, it was even before the final. One of them said, when we were watching in Trafalgar Square at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, all those fans getting fucking hammered, I knew it was fucked. I knew then it was fucked, because I was reminded that, and the way he put it was, I thought the way he put it was great. That George Cross, to him as a Scouser, just represents that nastiness that he doesn't want to associate with, right? Be it right or be it wrong. And it is a shame for the English people, because it's not all of the people, it's not the majority of the people, as you well know. As I well know, some of my dearest, bestest friends are English, and I always have to, whenever I'm talking about these sort of things, going about imperialism and talking about American imperialism, I always have to qualify, and I say, I love you, America, I love your culture, I love the things you've done, but this sucks, you can't do this. And the way he put it was great. He said, every club has this little cohort of fuckwits, or he didn't use the word fuckwit, he uses something like whatever, right? So, but then whenever they all come together under the English national flag, then you end up with this big giant cohort of fuckwits. And although it is the minority, it's still a significant number of people. And when you hear the reports back about the people that spent fortunes on tickets that never even got to see the match in the stadium, and there's lots of reports of that. People said, some dude bringing his son to his first England football match at 12 years of age, and one of the reports I heard, he was all he could smell was marijuana, and which I have no problem with any of these things, but there's a time and a place. All he could smell was marijuana, and dudes doing cocaine off their mates' backs in front of him, beside his son. You know, you're like, and without a ticket, they stormed the gates, and they got in ticketless. And so he I kind of felt for him, because he was going, I felt sort of a little bit of, oh, this is going to be good. Then I saw over the course of the day, and I went, no, this is going to go wrong. Then those three fantastic young men stepped, and they missed. And he hadn't gone on to social media for a week, or since. He stayed off it because he knew what it was going to be like.
Yeah. I saw a reel on Instagram earlier, and it was a black fella wearing an England shirt.
Yeah.
And it was like, he just goes, to all you racists out there,
you
talk about your three lions. Just remember, lions are from Africa.
Cool.
Like,
Mic drop is right.
That is outstanding. But mate, look, I mean, I've been in England during. I've ran a bar in South, like near. I used to run a bar near basically where see where the hotel was, where the England team were staying. Wasn't too far from there.
Right.
That's where Arsenal train and Spurs train. Yeah. So where I was, every North London derby, it was always mayhem.
Yeah.
But the only football match I'd ever have to put doorman on for would be the England game. Any other match the rest of the year, even in North London derby, it was grand. But the England match, if they win, they wreck the place and fight everyone else. If they lose, they wreck the place and fight each other. That's what they do.
Yeah. Exactly. Did you see the headline from, what was a headline, was it in the Daily Mail or the Daily Express, and it showed you the Italian dressing room, a photograph of the Italian dressing room, and it was a bit messy. It wasn't that bad. There was a few bits of thing, a couple of glasses or empty beer bottles left about the place, and a few clothing items that never made it into bags or whatever. It really wasn't that bad. and they showed you the Italian dressing room, you know, as if the Italians had wrecked the place as a two-fingered salute to England somehow. They sort of extracted an offence from the Italian dressing room, and it was fucking bizarre. Meanwhile, completely ignoring what was going on in the rest of the city.
Yep.
Trafalgar Square was fucking ruined.
Mainstream media is not covering it.
No.
They did not talk about any of it. You had to go to Twitter to find anything, any videos about like kids getting the head kicked off them. And you know, it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, is it? But the thing about it, right? So
I don't know.
I had a fallout, not fallout. A friend of mine who's English, and at the end of the match, I went, "Here, looks like the sat nav's broke."
Yeah.
And he was like, "For fuck's sake, mate, change the record. You're a musician after all." I was like, "Whoa, hold on a sec. Like, come on."
Yeah.
For like, I have no problem with the English national team because I watch matches of the day every Saturday. I support Newcastle United. You know, I enjoy English football regularly. I see English media. I hate Rio Ferdinand is the most arrogant pundit. He was like, do you remember after the Italy-Spain game? He was like, before England even said Denmark.
Don't care. We're going to beat them.
You know, arsehole.
Yeah.
You absolute arrogant prick. Also, by the way, always stands up for Meg Isley because Meg Isley stocks his sportswear.
Yeah.
But it's when you have people like that there and the arrogance all the time. Yeah. That's the bit I hate, and that's the bit that I'm glad to see get taken down a peg or two. But then every time I see an England flag, do you know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
Every time I see that St George's Cross, it just reminds me of the sun. It makes me think of that fucking rag.
Yeah.
And I know why Scousers hate them, but you know what I mean. It's like actually, I have a patch somewhere that actually says "Don't buy the sun." I think that was the first patch I ever had. Yeah, you know, horrible people. Like
it's awful, but it kind of.
I'm not even a Scouser, and I'm ready for
but it kind of is. We all hate it, and you're right. I'm sitting here in a Liverpool top. You're a Newcastle fan. So well, it doesn't mean that you have to. I remember getting into.
There you go.
It's not. There we go. Yeah, well, you know, but I remember over before during Euros, and I was going, you know, I got into a little bit of it wasn't an argument, we were disagreeing, you know, and this English friend of mine said, well, why are you not supporting England? You support, we're your neighbours. And I said, that's right, we are your neighbours, and you've done nothing but try to fucking destroy us for 400 plus years, depending on whenever you want to start the clock. So that's why we're not supporting you. You as an individual, you're awesome. Yes. I love you. You're a dear friend, and I adore you. I've got first cousins and aunts and uncles. My granny and grandfather who are from Cork are buried in England. You know what I mean? And so I have no problem with that. It's that we are fucking awesome. We are, and it's this which leads us to Brexit, which leads us to this the Northern Ireland, and we're still fucking suffering from this shit. But this is, I've up on the screen of this fantastic photograph, and I want to focus on that. That's the memory that I want to that whenever I think of England and the people of England, that's what I want to think of. So that Marcus Rashford mural was defaced by racists, and almost immediately it was covered over, and people started love bombing the photograph or the mural straight away. They were going sticking cards up the cover with little love hearts, we love you, and all this sort of stuff. Then literally the next day, you can see on the, I'll describe it for the people listening. It's a mural of Marcus Rashford on the gable end of a house. I'm assuming it's somewhere where he's from. Is he from Manchester?
Yeah, he is. I can't remember exactly where from, but he is a Mac.
I'm assuming that that's his borough that he was.
That's where he grew up. I can't.
Aye. And it is there's a throng of people, black, white, Asian, Muslim, I can see, young, old, male, female. It's fucking fantastic. And they're all there in support and solidarity with Marcus Rashford, and by proxy, by connection, obviously, the other three guys that received the terrible abuse. But that's what I think of. That's what I want to think of. Because although, and again, I'm listening to these guys on the Red Men podcast this afternoon it was. And he did say something, and it's something that we all say, and he countered it, and it's something that we say casually, and he said, it's because we all go, it's a minority of people, and it is a minority, but it's not a small minority. It's not the majority. It's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there like this. I'm not talking 30% or 20, I don't know what the number is. I mean, I'm sure it's much, much, much less than that. But it's not a small minority. It's a significant minority. And if you don't think it's a small minority, you're not, or if you don't think it's a significant minority, you're not fucking paying attention. No.
You're right.
And then that brings us to what you just said. You've got the significant minority who are vile. Then you've got the people, these wonderful people in this photograph, right? And then you've got the people that aren't anti. The passive, I just want everybody, don't call it out when they see it. And I had, by the way, just on, I had an opportunity to call, somebody put something, I'm not going to say any more, somebody put something into a WhatsApp group that I'm a member of, and it's a massive group. It's like there's like 60 people. It's nothing to do with me really, but I'm in this group, and I've never seen anything like it before, and there was no cause, and someone put up, and they said, I'm not saying, this is just with English fans, and it was a little fucking meme with an N-word.
Yeah.
And I just messaged the guy, he went, you need to just not do that. That's out of order.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't think that. I said, well, stop fucking sharing it then.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah. I was getting sent WhatsApp videos of people like on Facebook or whatever who were like voicing racial aggression towards the lads who missed their penalties. And okay, right now you know the name of these people, you can report them and stuff. But I'm being sent this video, and I'm like, I'm not forwarding that on because I don't think that person deserves another. Yeah. More. He doesn't deserve more airtime.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So there's people sharing videos. People are sharing stuff, going, "Oh my god, isn't that horrible?" But don't share it at all.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're physically going to go to the person's house and tell them to wind their neck in.
Yeah.
Don't entertain the video or the meme or whatever. You should just here, look. We all get sent stuff on WhatsApp. That's maybe a wee bit,
Yeah.
But it's then all you can just do is block the person who sent it to you. You go, well, I don't need that kind of fucking stuff in my life.
The thing about it was, I don't even know the guy who it was.
I
don't even know him. Like I say, it's a football thing, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't want to be involved. And he was one guy in the group, full of people. There's 10 or 12 people in the group that I do know who are lovely. They're the reason I'm in the group. They're my mates. But or some of my mates. But anyway, so it's that passive. As you correctly pointed out, absolutely correctly too, it's not enough to.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say I'm not racist. You have to call it out when you say.
Yeah. I have I'll tell you this story.
Yeah.
And it's St. Pauli related. So
yeah. St.
Pauli's big rivals are Hamburg.
Yeah.
Big Nazi problem in Hamburg, and there's a lot of Nazis that support them. So obviously that's where you've got the clash. Like I've been to a derby.
Is that a fact?
And mate, I'm telling you, I've brought a mate who's been to Old Firms, and he's like, Old Firms are nothing compared to that.
I didn't know that.
The atmosphere is mental. Both so, and the one we went to, we won the match. It was class. And the army's on the streets. It's bedlam, absolute bedlam. But there was a player who was playing for Hamburg, and I can't for the life of me remember his name. But I think he's either from the Ivory Coast or Nigeria, one of the two. I couldn't remember which one. And he was playing incredibly well all season. Was the player, so Hamburg were basically heading to promotion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the clubs in the Bundesliga, the second Bundesliga, because they don't play in the top tier, we play in the second. A lot of teams were calling on Bundesliga officials to check this guy's papers because they believed that he was ineligible. His documents weren't right, so he wasn't like. Remember the whole thing with Obafemi Martins years ago, played for Newcastle. He was 21 for 14 years, that kind of a thing. Yeah, there was something like that there.
Okay.
But they basically, the other teams in the Bundesliga wanted rid of this guy because Hamburg were winning.
Okay.
Some Poli fans took it upon themselves to defend this guy who plays for their Nazi rivals, but because of the racial all the racism and the it wasn't fair what was being done to him. He was being victimized, and Hamburg weren't really backing him. But the St. Pauli fans took it upon themselves to champion this guy.
Yeah.
Because he has rights. Why can't he play here? You know, no human is an alien. I mean, the graffiti at the Millantor where St. Pauli played it, there's all the messages, like, it's just beautiful. And, you know, and that's why, one of the reasons why I love that club so much is because they literally put aside their differences and the fact that they hate Nazis to protect this guy who plays for their team because of all that. Would you get that in the Premier League? I don't think so.
Well, you might now.
I don't know. I've never.
I agree. I don't think you're going to get that at all. But I will. The reason that I'm glad you brought that up was because it leads me into this. And the headline of this article is breaking news. I think this was today. I don't think I was aware of this, so it's connected to what you were saying, and it's all to do with it's not enough to just go, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, I'm not homophobic, I'm not whatever. Breaking news: England's team Downing Street reception was cancelled because the players refused to meet Johnson. Now, it was initially reported the other way about. Boris Johnson says he didn't have time, or it was Johnson calling it off. It wasn't. It was the players that did it themselves. And for me, that is fucking beautiful. And this is where we need to be. And this is why whenever you see exactly what we were talking about right at the very beginning, the Pritti Patels and the Boris Johnsons out there wearing their England tops and just talking out of both sides of their mouths at the beginning of the tournament, literally criticising these players for taking and as I can't remember the name of the player that called Tyrone Mings that called that called them out. He said, we are protesting literally the exact same the thing that you criticised us for, and now we're being criticised for it. You're trying to, it doesn't work like that, and it takes a massive, and this is a big deal, it takes a thing like this to do it. And you know, it happened in America with a couple of teams that were winning tournaments, and they didn't want to go.
The NBA, nobody would go to the White House during
no one would go to the White House. Now, they needed to be doing that years ago because Barack Obama and Joe Biden and George W. they've all been vile over the years. But obviously Trump is a special fucking case. But it takes these massive gestures, and for the English national team to not do this, that's a big fucking deal. Normally they would we'll just park this, we'll put it to one side, stiff up our lip, and we'll just push on. And they went, no, fuck that. We're not doing this anymore. We're not playing that game. We're calling this shit out. And if I can just read, there's a little paragraph from that that publication. It is literally a paragraph, so I'll just read it out real quick. I'll just read it out real quick. The so-called MSM reported earlier today that Boris Johnson had cancelled a Downing Street reception for the England team after the team had narrowly lost the European final on Sunday in a snub to the players. However, it is now emerging that the event was cancelled because England's players refused to attend in solidarity with black teammates because Johnson and his front bench, and it wasn't just Pritti Patel and Boris Johnson, it was others, had fanned the flames of racism towards Marcus Rashford and other black players. There's a link there if you want to go and read more of that. I'm talking to the audience that's listening to this. If they want, they can go on to the Squawk Box and they can get that link. I'll put it underneath the video. Several had already spoken out in social media against racist incitement by Johnson, Patel and others, and the Tories siding with those who booed players for taking the knee before kickoff, because they were literally booing these guys. Black and Asian Lawyers for Justice group confirmed reports also received by Squawk Box saying the players had said they were cancelling Johnson. And yet again, a group of young footballers provide more opposition to Keir Starmer's Labour Party and highlighting the evils of the Tory government. So And that's basically it in a nutshell. And just as you say, you need to call it out. You need to, whenever you see it, you need to say it.
It's right, man. That's systemic racism. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It all it's rooted. But then, like, I mean, like, it sounds so defeated to say it's never going to change. But then, it's like, I mean, like, the whole way politics works. Like, how do you get into the House of Lords? It's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. How do you get anywhere in politics? You have to suck a dick or do something vile. Not that sucking dick's vile. Just like to point that out. My gay brothers out there. But
getting your dick sucked is very, very nice.
I know. At least you get his wife first.
At least we shall. Yeah, we'll not have any more of that conversation. It's getting ridiculous.
Who would have thought with that flag behind me? That's the sentiment of this podcast. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's going to be the little bit that goes on Instagram with the little waveforms on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like
Sucking
fucking
dick's
dick.
horrible.
Yeah, at least clean it. But yeah, you're right. And again, I was reminded there, just as you said, that what do you call your Tony Benn's son? He's a Labour. He's moved in. Hillary Benn. Tony Benn was a great, as you know, a great socialist and a great Labour MP and a voice for the working class, despite coming from the upper class himself. And he turned down, he refused a title, a lordship. He was supposed to go into the House of Lords, and he turned down the family entitlement to that in order to run as an MP and to speak up for the working class. And his fucking son has taken the title back and is now in the House of Lords. His son. How could you? My God.
I mean, anything surprise you about the Labour Party when their fucking leader was the one who let Jimmy Savile off the hook originally?
No, yeah. Well, exactly.
You know what
yeah.
I'm
No, nothing does anymore, sadly. And but that I remember. I remember when I read that, I think it was yesterday or today, I can't remember, and it sort of hit me in the stomach. I felt like, thank God Tony Benn's dead and didn't get to live to see that.
Yeah.
Because, that's one of those moments,
Right.
But here, just, we haven't done anywhere near enough Pritti Patel bashing.
Oh, right! We do. Line it up.
We do have a mutual hatred of this woman.
Yeah.
And
it's funny that really is. Things you share in common. I'd love it if Facebook did that. Things you have in common. Fucking the vampire.
That would be fucking class. What I'll do is I'll play these wee videos, but I'll put these other earphones up to the mic so you can hear, because this isn't working completely right. So I'll do that. But there's a little video here. It's from a few years ago on Question Time. As Ian Hislop going up against Pritti Patel. I'm sure you've probably seen it.
Yeah, he really went up in my estimation.
For 50 years, Private Eye has
Yeah.
pretty much in most issues exposed a miscarriage of justice, and a lot of them have been murders. Over the years, large numbers of these cases have been found to be entirely wrong, and the men convicted, almost all of the men, there's a couple of women, have been found innocent. So we would have killed those people, and in some of those very high-profile cases, which involve terrorism cases, we would have made very dangerous new martyrs by executing people who turned out
like
not
rip your dick
to
off
have
and
committed
rage with it?
the murders involved. So on a purely practical basis, whatever you think it says about the civilised nature of your society or not, I think it would be incredibly dangerous to have capital punishment back.
Would you hear her?
Are you influenced at all by that argument of miscarriages of justice?
No disrespect, Ian, but I'm not. On the basis that I think, this is really about our criminal justice system, actually. And I think if any, for any conviction, for example, you need ultimate burden of proof. You really do, and that means that.
But that's his point, that they find these mistakes all the time.
Well, I mean, that's.
Are you saying they were guilty, all these people?
No, I'm not saying they were guilty. Obviously, I'm not.
So
not
they
with
would be
those cases. No, the point.
They would.
Well, the point is, as I said earlier on, this is about having deterrence. If you have strong deterrence like that,
it's not a deterrent killing the wrong people.
Well, no, capital punishment without.
And that's,
she is putrid, mate. She is putrid.
She really fucking is. And that's the point of her argument there, Mick. She says, we have to have the death penalty as a strong deterrent in order to deter people who didn't kill anyone. That's that you follow the logic. We have to kill these people in order to deter them from not committing the murder that they didn't commit.
The death penalty doesn't stop me from killing people.
Yeah.
Being a good person stops me from killing people.
There we go. Giving people fucking opportunities, equality, social mobility, all these lovely fucking things that we have, that we demand in a modern society. These are the things that fucking... And, I don't want to get into it. She's sitting there talking about the fucking death penalty. But meanwhile, today, the British government is talking about putting up an amnesty for British soldiers and a statute of limitations, and is not going to prosecute the paratroop regiment for the Bloody Sunday massacre. And
we could do an episode on that all by itself.
And I will be doing one on that, because it's that big. My thoughts on the subject real quick, and again, we're still on the Pritti Patel hate train here, and I've got another thing we're going to play. So, but nowhere else in the United Kingdom would what those troops done have been. They couldn't have done it in Scotland. They couldn't have done it in England. They couldn't have done it in Wales. They can't even do it in Iraq or Afghanistan. And they're brown people over there, and they hate those anyway. So they can't do it over there, but they can do it here. But we're supposed to be equal citizens in this country. Don't give me that. That's bullshit.
No, they were sent over here. They were a fucking killing squad sent over here to eradicate a problem, eradicate a thorn in the side of the British government. That's why they were sent here.
Yep.
That's not a conspiracy theory. That's fact.
Well, you're not going to send a fucking paratroop. I mean, the paratroop regiments are fucking psychos. They're the first ones in. They jump out of fucking airplanes, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? That's what they do. But here, you sent me. We'll talk about that. I want to get my shit together with that one, because it's so sensitive and important and everything
definitely.
else. So I'm going to play the first. So we're going to end this.
Yeah.
But Mick sent me this awesome video, and it's called, as I said, Mick and I do have a mutual hatred of this woman, and I don't think it's an
we should get tattoos.
No.
Just fangs.
My fucking blood dripping out. And I don't think it's an understatement to call it a hatred. I mean, I do particularly loathe this fucking bitch. But so Mick sent me this video from Spitting Image, right? Spitting Image, and it's called Pritti Patel's Most Evil Moments. So for those of you that are listening to this on the podcast, I'm sure it'll translate across. If you want this, if you don't know what Spitting Image is, it's a satire parody puppet thing. Get over to the YouTube channel and you can watch this, or you can Google it yourself. Pritti Patel's Most Evil Moments Spitting Image, and you can watch it. So I'm just going to play this. Yeah. I'm not going to play the whole thing, because I think it's 7
The first minute probably just sums it up.
Yes.
Really.
Yes, because we did speak about it. You're right. Good man.
With George Osborne.
Yes.
Or Michael Gove, sorry.
Michael Gove. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. So we'll do that. We'll play the first minute or two, and then we'll call it a day. So let me get this teed up.
So you're back, you disgusting worm. Just remember, no photographs, no touching, no mentioning Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
No, mistress.
So, what repulsive kink do you want today?
Well, I'd like... Oh, it's so nasty. I'd like unpopular conservative opinions only you can get away with.
You shall receive, Tory boy. We must limit all immigration, except for Israelis.
Oh, you can see it because you're Asian.
If single mothers can't afford babies, they should have abortions. If they want abortions, they shouldn't have had sex.
Yes, you can see it because you're a woman. although it would be nice if it made sense.
People should only qualify for universal credit if they don't need universal credit. Why do young people love Rocket? It's just smelly leaves. Black Panther is a terrible movie.
Nailed it.
Yes, we think it, you say it. Oh, I'm close.
Are you pleasuring yourself, Filth?
No, I'm close to figuring out how to chop up the NHS and sell it in little pieces, and therefore also close to orgasm.
Sell poppers in corner shops. Trans women are ducks. Eggs are delicious on pizza.
That's not conservative.
Enact mandatory Morris dancing.
That's too conservative. Stop, stop.
Had enough slime.
Yes.
Right, now you do me.
Year on year, fiscal returns have outpaced projections by an annual adjusted rate of 4%.
Oh God, I love dull men.
Right.
Mate. Unbelievable.
It's fucking
Absolutely nailed it.
But you brought that up right at the very beginning, and it's so fucking true. It's all good satire. Always has an element of
Yes.
truth. She gets away with it. No one else can say it. She fucking gets away with it all the time.
Yeah. Evil bitch.
Evil fucking bitch.
Mate, I would encourage anybody to go and watch. I've watched that whole series.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on BritBox.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of them new streaming services. You pay like a $5 a month or something. I had my other ways of watching it.
Of course. Yes.
And the Donald Trump stuff is tremendous. Like, I don't know why I just actually did a Donald Trump impression there. But honestly, mate,
you did get a bit.
I did. I don't know why. I did.
It's written earlier on you were a bit Italian-y with a pulling down of the...
Oh, shit. No, Donald Trump gets COVID is one of the funniest videos you'll ever watch.
That's right. That's right. Covid.
Yeah,
COVID. He calls the virus Covid or something. Doesn't he?
Coroni.
Coroni. He's
Coroni.
He's like a wee
I
pet.
like you, Coroni.
That's right. Brilliant. Here, Mick, we're going to pull it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything coming up that you want?
Yeah, we're in the Atlantic Bar in Portrush on Friday night.
Brilliant.
And then we're down in Dalriada at Glenarm Castle on Saturday. Main stage, baby. At the behest of Lady Dunluce, might I add.
Ooh.
The royal family has requested, because apparently she doesn't like all the karaoke acts that they hire. So because we play as a live band and we're really good at slagging each other, she likes it. The cut of our jib, she said. And then anything else after
You're
that,
the working class filth that you can tolerate.
Yeah, pretty much. I scrub up well. I've got to get my beard trimmed on Friday and stuff and get the hawk all done. So.
Oh, good man.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, mate. Looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Getting the road again.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope it continues and doesn't come to a stuttering halt, because we're all going a bit fucking mental. Listen, man, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this, and I'll get you on again at some point. Best of luck. Best of luck.
Make a trip to the studio and bring my violin with me. That's what we'll do for the next one.
Oh fuck! That'll be good. Yeah. Do that. Yeah, I'll be opening it. Yeah, definitely. And I promise. I got Darren Matthews on there the other week, and I got I said the next time you'll have to come down and we'll do it right and we'll get a pint around the corner. But anyway, listen.
Right, so.
I appreciate it very, very much, and best of luck, and sure, I'll catch you for the next one.
Yes, sir. Happy Christmas. I don't see you before.
All the best, mate.